Welcome, fans, to another episode of Rangers Ed. This is your host, Cousin Ed, here with my co-host, Little Ed. What's up, bud? This Hartford
I was
Wolfpack shirt.
sporting my Wolfpack. I'm a huge Wolfpack fan now. Our boys are in the Atlantic Division Finals starting Thursday night. So go Wolfpack. And I got
Yeah, we
my little stuffed animal behind me, the mini hockey stick, my cup that I got at the game, my rally towel I got at the game. And the only gripes I had is I had all the merch piled onto the table, right? This is a funny story. You'll appreciate this. I had all the merch piled onto the table. The girl's ringing it up, whatever, blah, blah, blah. She goes, "Oh, do you want a bag?" I was like, "Yeah, I think I'm going to need a bag." She goes, "Oh, it's $6." I was like, "No, you have like a free one, like a throw out one?" She goes, "No, this is all I got." I'm like, "Well, then I guess I have to buy a bag. I can't carry any of this stuff without a bag."
What are you gonna walk around the whole game with a handful of stuff?
this
Yeah.
Wolfpack toy, a little stuffed
So
animal.
it's actually like a pretty nice bag, I guess. Like you could fold it up and like zip it up into a ball or whatever. So maybe I'll use it for the beach or probably just hang it up on my shelf. But either way, it's
My God, man.
that's just the one funny thing. And I was like, wow, that's a scam. And the girl was just like, yeah, what can you say? Just like she like gave me like one of those looks like I gotcha. I was like,
How do they not have a bag?
like,
Six
that was
How do
all
they
they
not have a
had.
bag? I
$6.
trust
It's like
you.
a,
I trust what you're saying, but that's like ridiculous that they don't have a paper bag.
that's
She-
how they get
she-
you.
She rang you up first too.
Yeah.
After you put the card in, she's like, "Oh, it's $6 for a bag."
Yeah.
You went
I
to
had-
the game
I had
though.
to-
What was the arena like? Was it packed?
It was
pun intended.
I don't know what the capacity is. I never looked it up, but they had like 5,100 people there. So it was
Pretty
close
good.
to sold out, I think. They didn't have the top bowl. That was like all like whatever they do covered up, like draped off. So that was
Yeah,
all
because
covered.
that arena Hartford played at.
Yeah, it used to be called the Civic Center, I
Yeah.
think. That's where
Whalers
Hartford, the
played there.
Whalers used to play. Yeah, they had like a kind of like a wall of fame, a Hartford Wall of Fame. As you're walking in, so that was pretty cool. It was just
Gordie
a really
Howe
cool
on there?
experience. Yeah, Gordie Howe was on there for sure. It was just all pictures. All Samuelson was on there.
Ron
Um,
Francis,
Ron Francis for sure.
Pat Verbeek,
Patty Verbeek.
It was a lot of fun. I walk in and I see the
Pronger. Pronger was a
Whale-
whaler too.
yeah, I see the Wolfpack mascot Sonar as soon as I walk in, who looks exactly like my cat Mika. So I thought that was funny. He came down in our section and he was signing like little kids like jerseys and stuff. I thought that was funny. I was gonna get Cousin Ed an autograph.
On
A
the towel?
sonar sign rally towel.
Oh,
But yeah, the fans that go to the games, there was a lot of like diehard like Wolfpack fans with jerseys. The place was electric every time they scored. We got a lot of hope with our prospects for sure. Cooley looked good. Lockwood was throwing his body around, skating all over the place. Brzezinski was his usual self, just buzzing around, getting shots on net. Even Lecision looked good. But yeah, I mean, it's still the AHL, so all these guys are going to look good. So hopefully they can take the next step and get back to the show. I don't want to be too negative, but I didn't like the way Hayek played. I thought he was a little lost, and I'm not sure what he's doing. But
I'm not
everybody else played
surprised by
pretty
that.
solid. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I like him, but it seems like he's losing his confidence.
Well, we picked up the AHL TV for the pod, so hopefully we can all watch it at the same
Yeah.
time. But if not, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, they clinched that round, and they're moving on, like I said, to the Atlantic Division Finals. I thought it was interesting that the AHL playoffs are longer than the NHL playoffs.
They have like
It might
that
come out to
play-in
the same amount of
series, right?
games. Yeah, it might come out to the same amount of games because they only play best of 3 and then best of 5. But still, I thought that was weird that they have like that extra round. So, but yeah, it was a cool experience. They, like I said, the building was electric. It was a lot of fun. So a nice 4-0 win, a lot of hits, a lot of scrums, a lot of fights, and it was a good time. So go Wolfpack.
Go Pack, and we got Coach Ed over there. Coolest game on earth. Shirt in the background. That's new. What is that?
Well, it's not new, but
Well, he pulled it out. It's new for his background.
yeah. I don't know what
Coach
he's
can't
doing. He's trying to figure
can't
out his
hear me.
headphones.
You might
This'll
have
take 20. He'll get it by the time the episode's over. All right, Mikey, I'll go to you. No longer a white wall over there. I like that. Are those frames or are they the what are they called, Ed? When you get the picture like on the thing or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? It's not a
Tiles.
frame.
Yeah, yeah, they're like tiles that Aaron, the PA ordered. I forget from where, but they came out really cool.
Looks good, man. Looks good. What's up
Coach,
with
you
you?
back?
I'm back. I lost my headphones. They died, so I'm on computer audio.
Coach, I was asking about your coolest game on earth sweatshirt. What
That is a
that?
sweatshirt. That's a funny story. Back in the '90s, that was the NHL slogan. One of the things I used to, our cousin Frank Ciaramella was an MLB prospect, and whenever we went to an Islander game, I used to see the players in the warm up. A lot of them back then didn't wear helmets. I'm like, hockey players are the coolest athletes. They said they're a lot cooler than baseball players. And then they came out with this sweatshirt, so I thought it was pretty cool.
That's so it
I
must have
remember
been
when
an
you got
inside
that
joke or
sweatshirt.
something.
Not really a joke. I just think hockey players are the coolest athletes.
That was what was that the slogan for? I remember that like coming across the screen on TV.
It was like on
And
ESPN.
it was
I'm going to say it was the early '90s to like the mid '90s, something like that. That was their promotion.
That sounds right. Sounds right. The logo on that shirt is from like the early '90s. That was the NHL logo, that orange. But anyway, so I checked out last week's episode. Sorry I missed that. We had our boy Oscar on. Always love for Oscar to come on. He still avoids me when I say, "Where's my jersey?" Though you notice that he doesn't answer. He just doesn't answer that question. But
just changes the subject completely.
I think it's done, and he's just getting his orders out to the fans and to the his customers first, and he's just kind of like trolling me at this point. I know how Oscar is. He's pretty quick with his jerseys. But
Oscar's the man, though. He's got some good stuff.
yeah, and he actually, it's funny, after our live show, Oscar drove us to the Garden, and he had like a Tesla, right? So we get in, and I'm like, "Whoa, this car's so cool!" Like I was like obsessed with the car, and he's like, so calm. He's just driving calmly, like going like 2 miles an hour through Manhattan in traffic, and I'm like, "Come on, we gotta go. We gotta get there. We gotta get there. The game's gonna start." You know how we like running like close to the game time. He's like, you'll be in your seat before Brancy comes out. I was like, all right, like, come on. So he drops us off. Literally, I sit down in my seat and they call Brancy out. So I text him, got here for Brancy. But he was just so calm. He was just cruising. I would have been like sweating driving through Manhattan.
Yeah, Oscar's a calm guy.
He is.
He's got to be patient with the sewing needles, right? But
what was he saying about MetLife with the Liberty jerseys though? I didn't fully understand that.
The Rangers are playing the Devils in the Stadium Series next year at MetLife.
Ah, got it.
So he was saying that the rumors are that there's going to be another Liberty jersey for that.
Okay, so not the Winter Classic, the Stadium Series. So that's
right.
Gonna what is that in January?
Usually around that time, yeah.
I might have to make a trip up for that.
I think the Carolina one was in February.
All right, well, we'll keep it, mark it on the calendar. I'll try and figure it out. But anyway, yeah. So look, I listened to the episode last week. You guys did a great job discussing Gerard Gallant. Big news, obviously. The Rangers and Gallant mutually part ways. Mutually agreed to part ways was the tweet from the Rangers, the announcement.
What does that even mean? If Gallant didn't agree, they wouldn't have parted ways?
No, so I'm just curious. So a lot of times in business, you say there was a mutual agreement to part ways, and it's done to help one of the parties save face, right? So either one party doesn't want to fire the other, or the fired party doesn't want everyone to know they're fired. So there's just a mutual agreement to part ways. So I'm just curious because on breakup day, you guys talked about this last week. Mikey, I know you brought it up in the episode. Gallant was saying pretty much, I'm going to stand on my record. Like, what do you mean? This is a ridiculous conversation that they would fire me, right? And then all of a sudden, a few days later, they mutually agree to part ways. Do you think this was a mutual agreement to part ways, Coach? I mean, or do you think he was relieved of his duties, as the
I
episode is titled?
mean, I'm sure. I mean, there's all talk of that closed door shouting match and what went on after Game 4. I don't know if I just kind of feel that he said those comments at that press conference because he was sick and tired of the press questioning him for 2 years. It was kind of like a, what? How else do I have to answer you guys? Kind of like an end of his era. I think he knew it was coming. I mean, the rumors were out there. Like EJ had said, I spoke about it last episode, that the rumors didn't just start from the media; they were leaked out from somebody, and Gallant has to hear it. It's not a secret. So I just think that was kind of his little send off to the media, like I don't want to say any expletives, but enough is enough. I have 108 points in 2 seasons straight. Leave me alone. What else do you expect out of a coach?
Mikey?
Yeah, I gotta agree with Coach, and I don't think it was mutual. I really don't. I think if Gallant had his way, he'd still be coaching the Rangers this coming season. But I think you hit it, the nail on the head, saying that just trying to save face. Instead of coming out saying the Rangers fired Gallant. Obviously it's a nice way of saying it. So I'll miss him.
I mean,
Little
by
Ed,
saying
are you?
by saying mutual agreement, is that like almost saying that the Rangers said, well, say it like this if you don't say anything bad about what went on, and vice versa? Is that what that also means?
Could be. I mean, you can agree to terminate a contract in any way. One interesting note, just on a contract premise, and I don't know the logistics of what actually happened here, but if you're fired as a head coach, the team is on the hook for your remainder of your contract. So Gallant had a 4-year contract, I think. So he had 2 years left with millions of dollars on his contract. So if he actually mutually agreed to part ways, the Rangers wouldn't have to pay that. I would think it would be him agreeing to terminate his own contract, right? So there could be something with that as well.
Okay.
I don't know why he would do that. I don't know. I mean, I personally think that he made it mutual. I think the Rangers didn't want him back. Drury didn't want him back, and I think it was kind of one of those things where it was like, you don't want me back, I don't want to be here anyway. So that is technically mutual. I don't know, Little Ed. What do you think?
I think they differed on philosophies, and they probably butted heads all season. And I mean, I heard that there was rumors that they were going to fire him back in November when the team started to take a slide. So it seemed like he was on a short leash no matter what. And then the team started winning. So then there was no reason to fire the coach at that point. So then at this point, I was a little surprised because I think I was the one who said it. A lot of players in the media or like in their public interviews spoke highly of him, which I guess they're not going to badmouth him in the media, right? But I guess in their private interviews with Drury, they had some other things to say. And I mean, the more that I read or the more I hear and stuff, I'm not really upset about it. I think a nice fresh start isn't really a bad thing. I was a fan of Gallant. I didn't necessarily think he was the problem, but yeah, like I said, the more I think about him, maybe a new coach or a brand new coach, not one of these. I heard on the radio all day, one of these carousel coaches, like just these same old NHL coaches that are floating around. Like, give somebody a new chance, a new voice. Give them a college coach, or I'm sure we're going to talk about it. Knobloch. I don't want them to take the Wolfpack's coach, but hey, if it's for the greater good, why not? But no,
Well, you said
like.
You're saying a couple things here, so let's parse those things out, right? So first, the players, what they said about Gallant. If you watch that Trouba interview again, it doesn't. To me, it's saying the right things, like you said, but it wasn't exactly a ringing endorsement. There's a lot of hesitation in what he was saying. I don't know if it was genuine or not. I first heard it and I said, that's not exactly a ringing endorsement. Like somebody would come in and be like, no, he's a great, like he's our guy. Like there'd be no hesitation in the guy's voice. They wouldn't be, stumbling through their words. And I thought Capo Caco's comments were telling. I have no doubt in my mind that when Caco met with Drury, he said, I don't want to play for this guy anymore. 100%. I mean, Caco was asked a question by the media. What do you need to do? What's the next phase of your development? And his answers were nothing about his own play. His answers were, I need more ice time and have to play on the power play. So to me, that's an indictment of coach.
I took that in a different way. I think I took that as him saying, like, I need to earn more ice time and more power play time. That's the type of humble player he is.
You know how I take that? You know how I take it? He's saying, I can't believe he put Heedle on the power play and I'm not on it.
Maybe. I mean, no, I mean, you might be right, Ed, because, you know, he's from Finland. So there could be a little bit of a, you know, translation thing when he's speaking English. Maybe he's coming across a certain way. I don't know. But I
don't
think
he's the type of kid that would come out and badmouth the coach like that or be that obvious. He might mean that.
I just think he would have said,
like,
I need
the
to
next
play
stage is
better.
getting that more. Yeah, I don't know.
He didn't say, I need to play better. I need to earn more ice time. I need to get, you know, play to get my. He said, maybe get some power play time and also play more. That's the next step. That's the coach.
Yeah,
like,
I could have misread it also.
And I'd imagine that the kids are frustrated with Gallant because they're buried on the team, you know, and that is not entirely Gallant's fault. It's Drury's fault too, right? I mean, Drury constructed the roster. He's got all these superstars on the team. So who's actually to blame? I'm not going to sit here and point the finger at Gallant like you. I don't think he was necessarily the problem, but I'm also, for like the first time in my life, the Rangers have made a coaching change and I'm a little bit indifferent. Like I'm like, whatever, you know, it's fine, but it's not, I wasn't like pumping my fist to fire him either, you know? So
I think we're disappointed because it seems like it was a waste of time and he is a good coach, but it's not something where it was like we were in love with the guy or we fell in love with the guy over like 4 or 5 years.
Right.
Of deep playoff runs and stuff. Like, it's like, okay, like if you're gonna bring in somebody new, it better be the right guy, and let's keep the train rolling. Like, because they're obviously not going to blow up the team. They can't, and we'll talk about that in another episode. But they can't do that. I mean, that's the obvious thing that every NHL analyst says or whatever. Like, you can't trade everyone. So the next step is you have to fire the coach, and you're not the GM's not getting fired. So who's left? And it's always the coach.
Well, they literally can't trade anyone. So,
right.
So Coach Ed, I want to ask you, how do you take those comments? And I also read that, you know, a blurb that the rumor is that Panarin was actually one of the Rangers that spoke against Gallant, which I find odd because Gallant let Panarin do whatever he wanted.
Yeah, I would be. I mean,
like,
if Drury's watching the games and he's going to blame Gallant for the way Panarin's playing, then I got to question Drury.
No, I don't think that's what it is.
What Adam Graves says, but
I don't think that's what I meant. So, like, Panarin just didn't think Gallant was the right coach for the Rangers. Like, that's an exit interview. You know, it's like interviewing the employees to find out about the boss, right? You're finding out about the supervisor of the employees. You're the head boss. You got a low-level employees. You're interviewing them to find out about the supervisor in the middle. This is their opportunity to privately bash that person. It's all going to come out. Like, if they have any negative feelings about that person, this is the time to do it. It's not public. It's safe, right?
I think Drury made it. I think, like Eddie said, that decision was made. A couple of analysts said it was made back in February. And I'm not going to blame any of the exit interviews just to put the nail in the coffin. I don't think Drury was happy with the way things were going. I would love to know what was that argument was about. That's what I really would like to know.
Because I have no idea.
I would think Gallant is a Drury type of coach personally because he's an older school, grind it out, play playoff style hockey, and it didn't happen. So I don't know. I'd love to know what Drury's real feelings are on it.
It has to be player usage. What else could it be?
Yeah, but why would that wait this long? I mean, to me, you watch that Toronto show and they have discussions. They had arguments during the course of the season, but they feel each other out. They discuss it. I mean, Keenan and Neil Smith fought constantly. constantly about player personnel and usage and whatnot. I mean, I think it's got to be on the same page. I don't see it. I don't know. I'd love to know the truth. That's what the hard part is. We don't get to find it out really for a long time.
No.
I want to know what that. I want to see one player get traded or let go, and come out with what was said in that locker room in that closed door meeting.
That won't happen until their players retired.
Well, what's his name on Boston had a lot to say about Cassidy, and he's still around. DeBrusque.
I mean, I just think that I'm trying to think what could Drury, other than the just general frustration of the game, because the Rangers played terrible 2 straight games, what could Drury actually have been upset about, right? I mean, he's not going in there like, you got to motivate these guys. Like Drury was in the NHL. Like he knows that these players are professionals and it's not the coach's job to like motivate the play. It's not the same as when you're a kid. You know, Eddie, you touched on that last episode, right? I mean, it's just not like the players have to get motivated themselves. So it can't be something as stupid as that. So it has to be the way he deployed the players. That's the only thing I could think of.
Well, maybe
you said that they have a philosophical difference. I mean, what could that possibly be? I mean, Drury.
Maybe it's opposite what we're thinking. Maybe he might have said you should have benched Panarin.
Well, that's what I was going to say is like,
maybe that's what he was saying. What are you doing coddling? The guy sucks. He's giving the puck away for every other shift. Bench him and put Kakko out there. Puck was that. Maybe that was opposite,
Yeah, maybe.
Or he could have felt that he couldn't get his players to work hard. I mean, I know the boys over at Bella Italia Marble can get their employees to work hard. Do you think we should send some players over there?
Yeah, they need to work there for the summer. Toughen up those wrists and forearms, maybe.
Cut that stone by hand.
Yeah, make them work the polishing stone a little bit and get over there and do something in the off season.
Yep. Shout out to our partners, Bella Italia Marble on Lawson Boulevard and Oceanside for all your granite marble countertop bathroom needs.
Maybe Gallant could get over there. He looks like a stonemason. I like him. I know you criticize a lot of his interviews and stuff. I like him. In 2 years, like he said, 108 points. They went to the Eastern Conference Finals. It would have been beautiful if they went to the finals. They failed this year. Is Boston? Look how failed Boston is. I mean, come on. Look at, they're not going to fire Montgomery because
See his interview?
Yeah, I saw it before. Yeah, it was a really good interview. He took accountability. The media is very tough up there too, and he sat down. He answered questions. I just don't see how he was on the hot seat. And again, I'd like to know what the conflict was. But obviously, we talked about this also before that every team he's on, this happens. Every team he coaches, it happens. So there's got to be a common denominator.
I think he's probably a stubborn guy, right? So there's probably some things that management wants implemented and he just won't do it. And that's why management keeps letting him go after he's had success. He has a ton of success everywhere he goes. I don't dislike Gallant as a coach. I said this in my rant, but I'll expand a little bit. I think Gallant is a good manager of people, right? Which is just one aspect of coaching, though. It's not. There's more to it than that. When you watch NHL Network, which I know you do, you watch these analysts break down the game, and as fans, we watch the game. It's really hard for us, I think, to sit there, watch the game, enjoy the game, and start breaking down what systems teams run, right? You can generally see like, oh, that's a neutral zone trap or whatever. But the book on Gallant is he doesn't run a system. I mean, the Rangers don't have an actual structure. They're an east-west team, right? They come in the zone, they stop, they pass the puck. That's when they have success. They have to adjust to a certain forechecking style, and you can't just say, okay, go dump it in. Like you have to do it with a certain structure, right? And I just think Gallant struggles with the X's and O's. So if you're going to have a coach like Gallant, you need to have very strong assistants that are top-notch X's and O's tacticians. They're actually running the X's and O's. Like Gallant hands off on that, right? Kind of like football. Like in football, you got a head coach, you got an offensive coordinator, and a defensive coordinator. Not every head coach is going to be able to call plays on defense. You need a guy who can actually call those plays. Same thing. That's the kind of coach Gallant is. So I don't think he's a bad coach. I just think it's really evident that after Quinn, who had no system, and now Gallant, who had no system, that we need structure. The Rangers need a structure in place because they're lost out there. I mean, they just are lost. They don't
Well,
know
I've
how
been
to adjust
saying
the
it.
game.
I've been saying it for like 3 or 4 years, comparing them to the whole situation to the Atlanta Braves, where the organization in itself should have a system, and these players should develop and step right in, and it should just happen. But you also have to draft your players with that kind of character and DNA that you want. You can't have Panarin play a North-South game and sign him on your team. You're either going to develop, like Valaket said, you got to develop a team based on your stars. You can't just say, I want to play this style, and then have Panarin on the team and Kane on the team, who are stick handlers and passers.
Yep.
You're either going to have a grinding team like the Kraken, and you're going to draft players and sign players that are going to fit into that mold, or you're going to go the other way. It's very hard to have a mishmash and have a system, a team system, because you can't run a practice like that. You can't have the in-game situations like that, because it gets you're going to have them making too many mistakes, and you're on different pages.
No, I agree with that. I think that's an astute point. I mean, it goes with line chemistry and structure, right? I mean, like you said, they have Panarin, they have Zibanejad, they brought in Kane, they got Laffy. I mean, these are guys who have success with the East-West style game, right? Moving the puck cross ice, the Royal Road. I think they were like top 5 in the NHL in goals scored off a cross ice pass or something like that. I mean, that is their game. So it's just hard to go to the playoffs and be like, all right, now we're going to dump and chase and, play good team defense. Like, it's just not the Rangers, not how they're built this season. So I think Gallant was probably frustrated with Drury for building the team in that structure. And Drury was probably frustrated with Gallant for not deploying the players in a certain way. Yeah. Adapting to the roster. So maybe it was mutual.
Thing is, what I said most is they did play that way in the games that they beat the Devils up. Like, I don't think you need to choose between East and West versus North versus South. You got to get the puck north, and then you got to create those East versus West plays by cycling and working hard below the goal line and forechecking. The Rangers just simply didn't do that. So I don't know what Gallant said or what he did or what kind of meetings they had, or maybe like you're saying, the offense coach was more involved in those particular games. But like, to me, like, there was just such inconsistent play. And like, I'm even looking at the Hurricane Devils series now, is like the Devils got whooped twice the first 2 games, and then they come out and they're somehow able to make adjustments and then win a game 8-4.
But did you notice the goals the Devils got?
I didn't watch the game. I just saw some highlights. But
in the 8-4, I'm going to say 6 out of the 8 were all dirty area goals around the net by the goal line. It wasn't all about staying with that fast break system. It's all about determination. You watch these playoff games, they're talking about it every day with the Kraken and the Panthers, that it's just constant, nonstop hitting, skating, and puck battles, never giving up. And that's the teams that are winning. They caught Boston by surprise. They caught Colorado by surprise because of relentless play. And the Rangers didn't have it for 7 games. They had it in 3 games.
Yep.
Those first 2 games, look, they beat the Devils. This discussion is not happening, just like every other series they're talking about. If they said if Marchand scores on that breakaway, the series is over, no one's talking about the Panthers. And none of this. Bergeron's not crying. It's a whole different world. If the Rangers win in game 6 games, no one's talking about Gallant being fired. The Rangers beat an up-and-coming team. But Lindy Ruff figured out a way to motivate them or push a button, and the young kids got pissed off, and they took it to the Rangers.
My dad used to say if pigs had horns, they'd be nanny goats, right? Is that the same?
Well, there you go. That's Grandpa's saying.
Winning solves everything.
Exactly.
I mean, the fact is, though, Coach, you try
look
to
at us after the second. Look at us after game 2. Everybody
look at
was
you after game 2.
No one was questioning Gallant's decisions, the power play. No one was questioning anything.
Power play was 3 for 8 or something after 2 games. I mean,
Pride had 4 power play goals.
4. Right.
At least 4 they had. Kreider had 4. They might have had 5.
No, it was all Kreider.
It was all
It was
Kreider.
4 Kreiders.
No one was questioning anything.
No, I get it.
That's where I say it's on the players. That
Look,
confidence should have went into game 3, and it should have been nonstop.
the bottom line is that you try to sit in this like reasonable person world where you bring everybody back and you say, into Coach Ed's neighborhood, and you're like, you know what? If they had won game 3, they should have just won. Like, the fact is, the Rangers blew a 2-0 lead by losing 4 out of 5 to an arch rival. And in all 4 of those losses, they did not have that will and determination that you're talking about. And that's why the coach is gone. Like, that's it. That's the reality. I mean, to simplify it, that's why the coach isn't there.
And if I'm the general manager, again, we don't know what happened, what their argument was about. But if I'm the general manager, I'm going to the players. What the hell happened to you guys that you couldn't come out and play that hard in game 4 after losing in overtime in game 3?
Yeah.
I'm questioning those players' character. They had 6 or 7 superstars on the team. How did that game get out of control like that? That's what I'm questioning personally. Yeah, the coach has something to do with it, but those players have a compete level on the NHL level that shouldn't even have to be, a button should hardly have to be touched.
Well, when you say those players, though, Little Ed, I mean, if we're going to talk about the players, we're really talking about like 5 players. That's what we're talking about, right? We're talking about Artemi Panarin, Adam Fox, Mika Zibanejad, Chris Kreider, and, Shesterkin, like the top guys on the team. Like, you're not sitting there and saying like,
who my
oh,
dog
Hedl sucked and he was terrible and that's why the Rangers lost. Like, the Rangers should.
I'm not blaming Hedl.
No. I'm just saying that. I'm not saying you. I'm just saying as a joke. But like the Rangers are built where Hedl, Lafreniere, Kakko should not need. That's how the Rangers deploy them, and that's how they use them. And they're in a not showing up. It's all this falls on Panarin, Zibanejad, Fox. That's who it falls on.
Without a doubt.
Me, as the GM, that's what I would say, right? I mean, so Drury said that they did have the players did have accountability in the interviews, though. So they weren't just sitting there like, oh, the coach sucks, So that's good at least. But anyway, Little Ed, do you agree with that? I mean, Coach Ed makes a good point. It's not just the coach, but like you said, I mean, you can't fire all the players.
No, but I mean, I think back on it, and you also want to play for the coach. Does that make sense? Like, yes, players have to find it within themselves to be like, yes, it's the Stanley Cup, but like, you want to trust your leader. You want to trust not just the captain, like that guy behind the bench, to make the right decisions when it comes down to it. And if they don't trust them, then it's hard to get into it psychologically, just in general. Like, and they think I keep on like just commenting on all like the trade, or not the trade rumors, the coach rumors on Instagram. Hire Messier, hire Valaquette, and everyone is liking it and stuff. I think they might need a player, or maybe even Messier just as an assistant coach. Because you look at like a coach like Rob Brindamore, who doesn't have any coaching experience whatsoever before this. They just respect him and they trust him to make the right decisions, and he's able to.
Marty St. Louis.
Marty St. Louis is the same thing. He's able to like talk to the players on their level and appreciate what they're going through and all that kind of thing. And I don't know. I think they got to find that happy medium, but like you said, the X's and O's and that relaxed, like younger attitude. Because then you also look at Hacksaw too with the Kraken. His interview today on NHL Now, he's got like the quarter zip on. He's all relaxed. Like Gallant's always like buttoned up. He's always like jiggery, whatever. Jittery. He's all just like, like he's not relaxed, and he doesn't look like he's having fun. Like all these.
He starts answering questions before they finish asking him the question.
I said that too. I was like,
they're like, Gerard. Oh, I think he freeze or me? I don't even know.
He is.
He's frozen.
They're like, hey, Gerard, so what did you think about Capo Caco's game? Oh, he was great. I thought he was excellent. Well, hold on. Like, I didn't finish the question, dude. He jumps right in. But yeah, he is. He's buttoned up. Looks like we got Little Ed back. He's buttoned up and tense. For sure. They need that relaxed nature as well. But I think you also, it's weird because you need a coach that has the X's and O's, has the relaxed nature, but also can give the players some accountability, right? I mean, the players on the team need to know that if they don't do their job, there will be accountability. And the way you demonstrate that is how? I mean, Coach Ed, like, you're a coach.
You got to take the ice time away.
From who, though? How do you demonstrate to the whole team that I'm serious about accountability, right? I mean, that's the question.
Go back. You can do it in my opinion, you can do it very simply. You can go to Panarin before the game, and you could say, look, there's going to become a point where I'm going to bench you in this game. Just take it. I need to set an example. I need to get these young kids motivated, like Herb Brooks did with Eruzione. He said, I'm going to use you as an example. I need you to suck it up and eat it, but we need this for the team to come together. So there are ways you can do it, and that's where becoming a psychiatrist, a psychologist, or whatever comes into play. That's how you can motivate. You have to manipulate the minds. That's patent motivated troops like that. That's how it is. You got to read books like that. You got to figure it out. You got to read the Scotty Bowman book. I read 3 chapters. His mind games he played with players is unbelievable.
Yeah, but you know what?
Was crazy with it.
It's an interesting thing because by doing that suggestion, let's say that he tried that, Panarin would you save Panarin's psyche. So Panarin gets benched, but he doesn't. He thinks he's part of like the inside. Right, even though as a coach, you actually want to bench him, right? Probably, right?
Right.
You like want it,
but so you're making it like I'm doing it as an example.
Right, like we're friends, so he doesn't get upset, but he also is benched, and whether it's as an example or not, nobody wants to be benched, right? So you're going to feel like, oh, the coach could bench me. And then to the rest of the team, they're like, oh, you bench Panarin, you could bench anybody, right? I mean, that's the reality. Like, there's no accountability on this roster, I felt. I just didn't think there was any accountability. I feel like every time a kid, Kako or Lafreniere in particular, mostly, because Hedel didn't really go up much with Trocheck and Zibby there, but Kako and Laffy were up on the wings in the top 6 throughout the year, and power play time here and there. Every time they went up, they were up for like 2-3 games on a line and like maybe not producing yet, and then boom, back down to the third line. And it's like, there's your accountability, right? So the kids have this sense of like, I need to perform in order to play in the top 6, but Panarin could do nothing in 7 games and not get benched. Zibanejad would never get benched. Kreider would never get benched. It kind of creates like a country club atmosphere, which the Rangers have been known to have. So they need a coach with accountability too, not like a Tortorella, but we need a coach like Cooper. Remember, Cooper benched all those Lightning players in the third period, right? Like somebody who's a good coach as far as like is a player manager, but is not scared to, show some accountability. Anyway, little Ed, you're back after you being frozen. I think we just wrapped up what we were talking about, but you were saying that Gallant's too buttoned up and Hackstall's like loosey-goosey, if you wanted to finish your thought.
No, I think you kind of did it for me. You got to find that middle ground between, because obviously Hackstall's all nice and loose because the Kraken's they're playing really well. They're responding to what he's expecting of them. Obviously their system or whatever they're doing is working. So yeah, he's going to be a little bit more relaxed. Looks like he's having fun. But I'm just talking about like that younger, that like, just like, I don't know. Like I said, like with Brindamore and who else did I say? Whatever. I don't
St.
know.
Louis.
Yeah, St. Louis. They just know what it takes, and they can talk to these players on a different level.
I don't think a college coach is the answer unless it's
not a college coach.
We tried that already. So some of the names being thrown out here: Messier, Quenneville, Laviolette, Mike Yeo, Chris Knobloch, Babcock, Bruce Boudreau, Andrew Brunette, Mike Sullivan if he gets fired, and now Sheldon Keefe if Toronto loses and he gets fired. So,
Coach Ed isn't in there?
Do any of these names really inspire much confidence? I mean, what in what world? There's like, okay, I'll say Knobloch would be an interesting hire. Brunette, I think, would be an interesting hire. He had some success with Florida, and he's implemented a system with the Devils that is working. everybody else on that list, whatever. Messier is always rumored as the coach, but everybody else on that list is a retread, complete retread. You might as well just kept Gallant then if you're going to hire one of those guys. Like, this is my opinion. I'm sorry. Like, they're all good coaches.
No, I'm done with all those names. They need someone fresh.
I agree.
The league needs somebody fresh. Everything.
Coach Ed's going to say hire Quenneville or Laviolette.
Laviolette.
I mean, Laviolette got fired?
Yeah. From Washington.
He's out there.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, shout out to Hockey Night in New York. Shawnee had him on his podcast recently.
Nice. Oh, wow. Yeah, I saw that. The big one is Mike Sullivan. He's rumored to be the Rangers' #1 target if Pittsburgh fires him. But I don't see, Mike Sullivan coming in and being any different than Gallant. Like, he's going to play the veterans. He's going to, I don't know. I just think it's going to be the same. It's going to be the same. They need a coach who's going to come in and actually play these young kids. That's what I want. And I think Knobloch might be the guy, honestly. I don't know. Take a shot. Take a shot.
That's your answer. Take a shot.
Take a shot with a young coach who's, inspired and can come up with a voice that is fresh, like Eddie's saying.
And what are you going to say what are you going to say if he fails? Oh, he's an AHL coach. They should have never hired him. We wasted a season.
Then you move on.
That's what you're going to say. Yeah, move on. Then we got to start all over. And meanwhile, another year of everybody.
You're already starting all over. I mean, we went from 4 years ago to having the best farm system in the NHL, elite talent, and we're going to be a powerhouse the next decade. We're now locked into 7 contracts. We can't maneuver at all. Our kids haven't developed. We just fired the coach. The goalie's a free agent in 2 years. Like, we have like a 2-year window to win the cup, and then it's going to be a disaster unless Laffy and Kakko become good. Like, that's the reality of like where we're at. So we're already starting over. You might as well start over with a fresh vote.
Your vote is for Knobloch.
No, I don't have a vote yet. I mean, I don't know who else is going to shake loose. I definitely don't want. I like Brunette. Andrew Brunette, I think, would be a good hire. I think he'd be a good hire if we're going to go outside.
My question is, what are you going to do in Miami when the Panthers raise the cup this year?
I'm rooting for them. I got a couple friends who are Panthers fans, and they're diehard, and they enjoy it. That the fans are crazy down here when they actually win. I'll say that. When Florida teams win, the fans go nuts. It's like parties in the street. It's wild. But I just think, it's also a team that's never won the cup, which I usually root for teams that have never won the cup, except expansion teams. I'm not rooting for them, but they haven't suffered enough, right? Like, I need Vegas and Seattle to suffer for at least a decade minimum before they win the cup. Like, if Vegas or Seattle wins the cup, I'm going to lose it. I'm going to lose it. Rangers fans have won cup in 83 years. Toronto hasn't won in 50-something years. And Seattle, the Kraken, are going to win the Stanley Cup. Like, give me a break. That's a joke. I'm sorry. That would be a joke, dude. Like, they don't deserve that yet. They have to suffer a little bit.
Teach a lesson to the rest of the league that the shiny toys aren't the answer.
Well, the Panthers taught a lesson, I think, to themselves, right? Last year, they were a President's Trophy winner. They went out and traded a bunch of guys, got Matthew Tkachuk, which is grit and skill mixed. That's what wins in the playoffs. You get that grit and skill. They overpaid for him to get him. They've ended up with a worse record in the regular season, and look what he's doing in the playoffs. I don't know who's out there that we could get like that, but he's a stud. But anyway, so I don't know, Coach. Who do you want to be the coach? Do you have any thought yet?
I don't know enough about Knobloch, but he's coaching the AHL team to a fairly high level for the last couple of years. I think he's going to be the logical candidate.
Yeah. What about a guy like Babcock or Boudreau or?
I don't want Boudreau. I mean, I know they rave about him as a coach on NHL and everything, but I don't see him as. I don't know.
He'd be exactly like Gallant, if not worse.
If he couldn't get Washington to win the cup with that team they had with the power play, I think when he was coaching them, they had the top power play in the league.
They won the President's Trophy,
I don't see it, but he's a smart guy. But X's and O's wise, but I think you need a guy like an NFL head coach like Messier, who's going to look down the bench and stare at them, and they're going to know. And then you have your offensive coach and your defensive coach that are teaching the X and O's, the system that he says they want. This is the system I want. You guys figure it out and teach it. And he's going to look down at Panarin. Panarin's going to know, I better dump this puck in because Messier might choke me in the hallway between periods.
You know, there's a lot of fans that are like, hiring Messier is like the most absurd thing I've ever heard. You know, every time the Rangers vacancy, bring up Messier. I can't take you serious if you want Messier as coach. He's never coached. And all I could think of is that, like, Messier has been a leader his whole life. He's never really failed at anything. Like, why wouldn't you want a guy like that? Why wouldn't you just try it? Like, I don't know. I don't have a huge issue with Messier as coach. Like you said, if they got the tacticians there to help him and run the X's and O's, and Messier is just the authority figure managing the players, I don't see why not. I mean,
Before
he'd be good
this,
at it.
before this, Brindamore never coached before.
Right.
He literally fell into this job. If you listen to his interview on Chicklets, like he almost turned it down in a way. He like literally
he was going to get the Michigan State job or whatever.
Yeah, now he's revered as one of the best coaches in the league. You know,
right?
Well, because Messier would be a similar style, because Messier would put the skates on and say, "Let me show you how to take this face off like Brindamore." You know, what is this? You know, what are you doing? You know, you got to get on the guy's wrist. You got to push. You got to, you know. He's done it. I mean, I know Gallant was a tough player, the Gordie Howe hat trick, all that, but not a Messier resume.
I wish Messier would just come out and say whether he would even be interested or not, because I feel like if
he's not going to do that,
just annoying. Because maybe the reason why is because he just doesn't want to.
I think if the Rangers offered Messier the head coaching job, that would come from James Dolan. And I think that would make Drury very nervous, because usually, like, when you do something like that, like Drury hiring Messier is just inviting a power struggle with a franchise legend. And that's a difficult spot for Drury. But then again, like, you know, we should end on this topic. Is Drury on the hot seat also? I mean, this is an owner who is very impatient. I mean, whether he should or shouldn't be on the hot seat is one question. But, you know, Drury just kind of went all in at the deadline. I know he retained some assets, but we got like 3 draft picks coming in this draft. So we gave up a lot. Yes, we kept our high ones. But he's gave up a lot of 2024 picks as well. He probably can't sign any of the free agents. Maybe, you know, I was playing around in Cap Friendly. Maybe Mott, if Mott takes a cheap deal. Maybe Kane if he goes on injured reserve and they spend up to the cap. Maybe. But, like, at some point, I think Dolan's going to be like, you're running out of time, you know? I don't know, but I don't know when that is. Maybe one more coach.
I think the Rangers have enough players already in the system that they don't really need to worry about a lot of draft picks in the immediate future. I know I'm joking around a lot about the Wolfpack, and I'm a fan now, but like, they did look really good on the ice. They looked like they did have a system. They were all skating as hard as they can. We love Offman. I think that he should make the team next year. That the issue I'm having trouble with is, like, where do you put these guys? Like, where would they even play?
Yeah.
You know, like, that's where I'm struggling with. Like, I would call up Brzezinski. I would call up this guy Lockwood. I would call up Cooley. But, like, where are they going to play? You know, so, like, that's the issue.
Got spots now.
That's the struggle where I'm going with. And like I said, I don't really think Drury needs to worry about the draft picks in the immediate future, especially if he is in the hot seat, because he's got to worry about winning now. And draft picks, who cares about the draft picks? In his mind, the draft picks are the next GM's problem.
The only reason I disagree is, in a salary cap world, you need to have a constant influx of young players that are cheap on the bottom 6 and in the middle 6, because
that's what these guys are. I'm saying in the Wolfpack
for now,
they have like 4 or 5 guys to play
for now, though. For now, but in 2 years, those guys are, you know, restricted free agents. They need new contracts. They're going to be making millions. You need newer guys coming in beneath them and you got to move out the ones that didn't work, right? You just need a constant influx. So Drury's done a great job of keeping first round picks. Like he's done an excellent job of that, which we never did in the past. So he's doing that, and those are the most likely to produce guys like Offman who are going to actually like come up in a couple years and be NHLers. So I think he's done a decent job, but I don't know, Coach. Do you think Drury's on the hot seat?
I mean, in the business world of the NHL, he's got to be on the hot seat. But again, we were all excited when I was excited when Tarasenko was doing his thing. I thought he did pretty good against the Devils. I'm not blaming him at all. I was excited when they got Kane, like most people were. I thought they were great moves. They were going for it. I think they should have made more noise. And again, I'm putting it on the players. I thought he made the right moves, that we didn't give up much, and I'm putting it on the players. I can't put it on the GM or the coach 100%. I mean, things could have been a little different, but they should have did better.
Yeah. Well,
I can't put it on the coach. With that lineup, when they got those top two lines, 2 power play goals, come on, 2 power play units. It was like, there's not really a 1 and a 2. It's a 1A and 1B. We heard it all every game. And how do they not produce? How do players of that caliber not figure it out? They don't even need a coach to run a power play. Did you hear about the Edmonton Oilers power play? All right, they asked the coach.
Different.
Don't say it's a little different.
It's not much.
Don't say it's a little different. You got Tarasenko, Kane, Panarin, Zibanejad. We keep saying Panarin's in the top 5 in centers in the league.
Kreider's the best net front presence in the league.
McDavid himself had as many points as probably like as Zibanejad and Panarin.
Look,
together.
I'm not comparing them to McDavid. We're talking about running a power play and coaching. The coach of the Oilers said, they don't even have a power play. They get the puck to Draisaitl and McDavid, and they find lanes, they create lanes, and they make the right passes. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Tell Connor McDavid you can't do this? You get a guy like Panarin, he should be finding the lanes and making the passes like he does all season. What did he do against the Devils?
Zero.
The bottom line.
Nada.
That's how I look at it.
Panarin was a huge disappointment, man. I don't even know what to do about Panarin. They can't trade him unless he wants to be traded. And even if he wants to be traded, someone's got to want him. Like that's the reality, It's tough. Whatever. I mean, we got 3 years left on his contract, so he's got 3 chances to redeem himself, most likely. Mikey, you think Drury's on the hot seat?
Definitely. I think you got to put some blame on him. Sorry, Coach, to disagree with you, but he's the one that put Gallant in that position. He's the one that, I guess, if Gallant really came in with no system, quote unquote, then you're choosing to put a coach that has no system to lead a team. So to say he has no blame, I think is wrong. I think he deserves some blame. But we'll see.
Yeah, he does. He does. I mean, he built the roster, right? But I wish I was in New York because after this, I got some dough at Publix, the supermarket down here. I'm gonna go make a pizza, and it's not gonna be a New York pizza, that's for sure. I want to call.
You got to get the wood burning stove like Sorrento's and slide that crust in there, where it comes out nice and crispy.
You guys keep sending me those videos, but
every time I drive by,
I make it pretty good. But it's not.
I got some slices in my freezer left over from Sorrento's, so I might have to throw them in. But yeah, if you live down in Long Beach, go check out their shop. I was in there the other day, and they got a lot of fresh, a lot of things for your barbecue. Now that the weather's getting warmer on Long Island, you got some nice pork chops, some nice ribs, a lot of grade A meats over there. Not just Italian pastas and things. They also have a lot of barbecue items as well. So check them out.
What is it? Also a butcher shop? I haven't been in.
It's like a butcher shop. It's like an Italian, I guess, like not bakery, but
they got the cookies.
Italian deli with the cookies, and then they
call
have
like cookies. I don't know how you pronounce it exactly. Salumeria, something like that. It's an Italian butcher shop. And
Yeah, they got
so-
everything. They got
Jack
everything.
of all trades. I love it.
Yeah, go over to sorrentosoflb.com.
Don't go in there
The
hungry.
entire menu. Yeah, you'll spend a lot of money, that's for sure. But everything is top notch. So what else we got?
You got the pins. You got to show off those pins that Meg sent you.
Yeah, we got some new putting the stickers on hold for now. We got some pins made personally by Suitor Sweet Treats, Meg, Tennessee Meg. Sent them over. We got a Coach Ed's Doghouse pin and a Rangers Ed podcast pin.
You got to send me that so I could put it on my hiking backpack. I got all the
I put them
national
on my
parks
golf
I've
bag
been to.
already. Yeah, I'll send you over some to give out to people. And
Are they edible?
Some. No, they're not edible. But as usual, I have my cookies right in front of me. I got my Little Ed's jersey here. And Megan, her sister Michelle, wanted me to say that they're putting their Etsy shop on hold. They got a influx of orders that they can't take anymore right now, so they're putting their Etsy shop on hold. But if you need something for an emergency, you can always head over to the Instagram. That's Suitor Sweet Treats. Right there, Mikey just threw it up there. It's at Suitors Sweet Treats on Instagram. So shoot Tennessee Meg a message and say the boys of Rangers Ed sent you over there, and she'll sneak your order in for you. And as usual, use EdPod23 promo code and get the free doghouse cookie and dog of your choice to go in the doghouse.
Yeah,
That's a
dog
lot
of your
of,
choice is key, though. I mean, didn't she send a poodle? I saw in one of them.
Yeah, she sent the poodle over to our fans over in Dallas, and Coach Ed's favorites, the Bulldogs. That's what we got. But if you have any other recommendations for Meg, I'm sure she'd love to get creative with it.
A lot of S's, E's, and T's in that.
Suitor Sweet Treats.
Maybe Meg, maybe you could do a pit bull American bulldog mix. Try a golden retriever Labrador mix.
I think what we need to do is Meg has to send Eddie a broken Panarin cookie, and Oscar's got to send him a Panarin jersey.
See what happens.
Well, she sent me the Heedle cookie. It broke. Then he signed a contract and did nothing in the playoffs. So I don't know.
There we go. The curse lives on.
There's
you
no
get a Gallant
curse.
jersey? Maybe a
There's
jersey
no
with
curse.
Gallant's name on it.
Is Gallant in the doghouse?
My wife says there's only a curse because I keep saying there's a curse.
All right. Is Gallant in the doghouse?
I'm not going to put Gallant in the doghouse. The doghouse for me is it's Panarin and Zibanejad and Fox. Those are the three guys in the doghouse for me because those are our big guys and they didn't get it done. I mean, if the Rangers are going to move on, you need more than a goal from the three of them. So all we got was one goal in the whole series from those three players. So that's my doghouse, and it's going to stay that way until the season starts. It's not changing. So I'm with you, Coach. It is on the players, but Gallant, bye-bye. See you, Gerard. No more sniffling in his interviews. No more nonsense responses. Hopefully they bring in a coach that actually answers questions, gives the players some accountability, and runs a system.
I'm all for bringing Tortorella back.
Maybe.
The Rangers history, we'll end on this note, Coach, but the Rangers history has been players coach, authoritarian coach, players coach, authoritarian coach. If you look at like their hirings and firings, that's what they do. Quinn considered more of a tougher coach than Gallant on the players. Not tough like as in fighting or anything, but tougher on the players. And now Gallant players coach. So it would make sense if they went to like a tougher Tortorella type coach here, but I hope not. Unless it's Messier.
Maybe we could do like back in the 70s and trade our only number one pick for Tortorella.
What if Messier is hired with Valakette as the assistant coach? Sounds like a winning combo.
Messier looked nice. Messier looked pretty sharp in that suit the other night.
Yeah, Messier is
the all
head
black.
coach of Valley.
No, he had like a peach velvet suit on.
And the velvet one, yeah.
He looks like
this is what you do. Messier
like
is
he's
the
ripped.
head coach. That's his title. But then Valley's the associate coach. He's not the assistant. He's the associate.
Oh my God! Could you imagine the arguing on the bench?
He's
Because
the X's and O's.
Malachi would go, "That's our third East-West chance of the period," and it's not. He'd be like, "Shut the hell up."
Valley would be like, Messi would be like, "Come on, get it in there," and Valley would be like, "That had a 64% chance of going in."
Yeah.
Don't even put Valley on the bench. He's upstairs with Drury with the earpiece.
He should
talking to
be in
Messi.
that role 100%. He should be. The reason he's not is he has such a successful company. You know, his company is employed by more than one NHL team. So he's actually like he sells data to like the Washington Capitals and then roots for the Rangers. I don't know. So he'd have to give that up.
He had the good point last week after the loss. I don't know if we talked about it last episode, but he said like Tampa Bay built their team around Vasilevsky, and that the Rangers should be doing the same thing, in his opinion.
Yeah, I heard that.
They have a window that has Shesterkin, and they need to build it around him, the style of play, the defensive structure around his style of goaltending.
Yep.
And that's what Tampa did 8 years ago, whatever year it was.
Yeah, it's going to take some time to get over the sting of this. I still feel like it's a melancholy episode, but we'll get over it. So coming up, we got a couple of ideas for the offseason. Obviously, it's going to be a long offseason for the Rangers. We're out in the first round. We're going to do some offseason preview, right? So we're going to look at the Rangers salary cap, where they're at going into the offseason, who's a free agent, what they might actually do. We're going to give some awards to the players for their season, offensive player of the year, things like that. So we have some awards that we give out every year. If you're a new fan, check out our old ones and you'll get an idea of what to look forward to there. And maybe we'll bring on some guests and talk some playoffs generally. Obviously, you know, we're hockey fans too, so we've all been checking in on the playoff games. Coach is staying up watching the Kraken. He keeps texting about the Kraken. I can't get him to answer a Rangers question I have for him. But he responds about the Kraken's work ethic.
We wake up to text from 11 o'clock at night.
It's like the one game I'm not watching. I'm watching like the Panthers game. I'm watching the Hurricanes game. You know, the early ones.
Anybody see the score of the Devils game right now, by the way?
No. Please tell me they're losing.
6-1 Carolina.
Oh, thank God. Oh, my God. You got me nervous. So on Akira Schmid, Carolina puts up 5-6-4-6. Is that what you're telling me, or was it Vanacek?
I'm going to guess it's Vanacek after the last game.
Oh, jeez. I love it. Good. Get rid of the Devils, man. And once they're out, I don't even care what happens at that point.
Yeah, I don't want them to win at all.
Well, obviously.
Like I said last time, I'm starting to really hate them.
How can you be starting to really hate them?
Well, I never really hated them. You guys always hate them all season. And I'm like, I said multiple times, I don't really hate the Devils. Now I'm just hating them.
You know why, Coach, you know why? Because when Eddie and I
Vanacek let up 5. Vanacek let up 5. Schmid let up 1.
By the way, Jack Hughes scored his 6th goal of the playoffs. I'm just saying. Anyway, so when Eddie and I were growing up, the Devils were winning Stanley Cups.
I understand.
That's why we hate the Devils.
All right, well, I lived it too.
Well, you were a 30-something-year-old man at that point.
Still a hockey fan.
Yeah, but you're not going to school with Devils fans every single day talking smack, right? Every day, Brodeur jerseys.
All right, so why do you hate the Islanders? You didn't live that.
That was born into me. Like I literally came out the womb. I came out the womb with a Calvin and Hobbes shirt on with the, peeing on the Islander logo. Like I was out the womb.
Father was burning an Islander jersey.
No, I just honestly, that was into me. Like it was taught to me to hate the Islanders. I'm sure Eddie's the same way. Because you're right, the Islanders sucked my whole life. So
I went to a school with a lot of Islander fans too. And when we were growing up and when I was in high school, the Rangers weren't that great. So it was kind of just like two bad teams battling it out. It's just like, and then I had to listen to like a random Islander fan that didn't follow hockey unless they were playing the Rangers, and it was just annoying. So
Yeah, and Islanders and Devils fans have this like quiet agreement that they won't talk about. Like they don't like each other, but it's like whenever either one of those teams plays the Rangers, they root for that team. Like the Islanders fans are rooting for the Devils in that series, and the Devils fans root for the Islanders when they play the Rangers. It's just the way it is. So they don't have the same kind of hatred. If the Devils play the Islanders in a playoff series, I'm not rooting for either team. Like I'm just, I don't think so. I mean, I'm just going to let it play out. And
No, I just want, if that happens, I just want the rink to fall out. Fans don't, I just want
gun
the whole
to my
rink
head,
to just sink.
Gun to my head, I root for the Devils over the Islanders. Gun to my head. But I can't actively root for either one. Anyway,
I forgot
we're going to hate the Devils.
The only reason I'm rooting for the Devils ever is because of Lindy Ruff.
No.
One last thing before we get off. Check out the playoff bracket I made.
What is that, on a whiteboard?
It's on a whiteboard, and these are magnets.
Where'd you get those magnets?
I made them.
Nice.
Wow.
So everyone
pretty
who's not
sick.
watching on YouTube, I made a custom NHL playoff.
You got to write on there, like 4-1 and whatever.
All right. Well, this is the prototype.
You also have to. All right, so I'm going to give you one little note. You got to make a second Kraken logo and put it in the first round, so you have two of them. Second, like you got to have the teams all the way down the sides. So you got to, every time a team wins, you got to make another one.
That seems aggressive.
No.
So if you want a playoff bracket, you can place an order. DM me on Instagram, and you only can get one set of stickers, not multiple.
One set.
Listen, you can't. First of all, Cousin Eddie can't have that one because he'll flop teams left and right. He's got to have a permanent marker one. He can't have where he can move the magnet around.
You're like, whoop.
I meant
God.
Pretty cool,
What
huh?
What a crazy playoffs it's been, though. You know, Colorado, Boston, Tampa, Rangers out. Crazy. Insane.
And Montreal on the verge. Not Montreal, Toronto.
Insane.
So,
all right, boys. Go check out Little Edge. Is that on your workshop on Etsy or is it on Instagram?
I haven't officially opened the workshop. It's a work in progress for the workshop, but soon.
You have a workshop for the workshop.
Correct, but that will be an item on the workshop for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You did that with the 3D printer?
No, the vinyl machine.
Nice, man. All right, you know what I got on my order list for next season for Christmas.
All right.
All right, boys. Have a good night. We'll be back next week, fans.
No quit.
Nice, fellas. Don't give up hope.
Good night, guys.
Good night.